Yo, all right. And this is a close OPEX Thursday. Tomorrow is a holiday or bank holiday, Juneteenth. So yeah, I mean, with it being OPEX mainly, I don't really care about the action throughout the day. I expect it to be chop, kind of like I said. NQ actually like fought that chop and slowly grinded up, and ES looks like it's finishing the day pretty strong. So I think, it's funny, the scenario that I pointed out yesterday that would be the least likely to happen, it looks like it looks like it's happening. So basically, I was looking for what I wanted to see was kind of like more chop and then retest 7420 to 7400 area. And I don't really see that happening anymore with what I've seen in the tape today. Number one, I might have missed a buyer, I guess, in the tape last night when I was talking about those lows where I didn't see really anything. I can't really ignore it, I guess. I want to see some like crazy definitive proof. Yeah, there was significant delta to the downside. I just didn't see the pickup in volume near the end of the day that I would have wanted to see. However, we did see some rather large placed orders, especially on NQ. 250 lots, like I said, large size on NQ is anything over generally 100. You could even make the argument over 75 is your large size. I would say anything over 100. So seeing 250 here, 100 at the lows, and then you see that kind of capitulation of a seller at the very low. So yeah, you could definitely make an argument that there was a buyer there, and they just were sneaky in the way that they entered throughout the day. Like even on this push up, you don't really see a huge surgence in buyers kind of as it pushes up back into this area. And to me, what it looked like it was doing was pushing up into an area of actually like long gamma where on the option side for QQQ, then dealers would just be able to pin it there. And that's basically what happened. They did pin it. Buyers were still buying throughout the day. It didn't fluctuate much CVD wise. I don't expect to see any like huge one-sided action on OPEX, but I really care about the end of the day action and seeing what it does. Because as these options settle on OPEX, that kind of relieves the pressure of the pin basically. For anyone that doesn't know, OPEX is monthly options expiry. It's a huge deal. It usually results in some type of pinning effect and price where the market just chops, because usually at that point, options dealers, they have guided price on QQQ, on SPY, on like the major indexes into a point where they're essentially making a good return. Sometimes it'll be at a max pain point where it's max pain for both longs and shorts, and the dealers have essentially won the battle. They've made the most out of anyone, but a lot of times they've just guided it to a price that they're comfortable with. So you're not going to see price fluctuate that much. The options dealers will they'll suppress vol very hard, so they will be buying lows and selling highs just to keep it within the range that it's in. But as the end of the day happens, as people settle out their options, like what's happening now, you kind of see a relief of that where dealers no longer are doing that, and then you end up seeing kind of what the true move might be. And it's aggressively pushing up, but we have into the last minute of close a lot of sellers piling at the highs. So that might just, again, be suppressing like the end of day kind of pump if it was going to happen. But yeah, look at the Delta. Delta's just crashing right now. But price is still pushing pretty strong. So this is very interesting to watch. Delta is just crashing down below, very, very negative. Yet price is holding. So it really just matters, what does price do next week, like as it ends it off, because now it's coming down. Oh yeah, okay. So sellers are they're not letting that top get breached for now. It looks like they're going to bring it back down into the range, and then oh, wow, minus 7K. So quite a dump on Delta into the very end. But for that kind of dump, there's a lot of buying there as well. So that'll be interesting to look at the MOC. But what I imagine happening, I kind of miss this. So we have ES actually swept all these lows. It swept kind of the Friday close low, I would say. It didn't quite get to Friday morning low of New York cash session. So I didn't really think anything of it. Obviously, a significant sweep would have been sweeping just Friday lows in general. But yeah, we swept the PM low, and that's one thing that NQ did not. So NQ did fill the gap, but it did not sweep that low. So that is our SMT. It is, it's the power hour, so you can say it's a significant kind of key open of power hour. I'm just going to get rid of these things here because they are now useless. So marking out standard deviation right here, 5 minutes high to low there. Pulled it on the index that made the SMT. That was a yes. And we have here our roadmap. And so this is why I was very interested in now looking at this as a possible projection. And, the close is, all that tells me is there's significant absorption here. It did not rocket up, so I'm not really expecting it to gap up. But if it does gap up, by all means, I would prefer just gap up right over 76.10 and we just get into 76.30 right at this 2 standard deviation. So that's like the next target, essentially, judging based off of this close. Where is it? Yeah, we finished down here. Okay. So off of this close, it's kind of could go either way. I wouldn't be surprised even to see Sunday manipulate and retest right here. The open lines up with the 0.382 as well. 75, where is that? 75.10. So I would like to see a 75.10 retest if possible. If buyers are holding it strongly, I will be long with them, targeting each one of these points. 2 standard, 2.5. I like the way these line up. So 2 standard deviation, lines up with those POCs. 2.5 lines with some POCs there and previous month high. And then we're getting into all-time highs right here, the 3 standard deviation. So that's fine as well. That's still on track. So remember, we're still going to line up, look, 2.5 lines up with this 3.5 from this larger, this larger projection. So I like that as well. I just like to see when these levels line up from different standard deviation manipulations kind of thing. So obviously nothing's gonna be perfect, grain of salt in all of it. So I'll be looking for, basically, I like this, right? This is what I like for sure. This could also change. We could get another manipulation, then this whole thing will be kaput. But if from here price just simply retests 75.10 and then we start moving up, or we just go straight up to the 2 standard deviation, I see some reactions there, I will know that this is valid, and then I'll look for the 4.5, which lines up right within that TR pocket, which I also really like. As soon as I saw that, along with a couple of these other things lining up, I was like, this might be very valid. So I'm not going to ignore it. I'm going to keep it on my chart just to watch. What's up? I think the reason for the pump overnight was Trump signed the MOU at dinner in Europe when he was at the G7. So I believe that is, part of the excitement. Again, I was talking to a friend of mine who is Iranian, and she is just totally distraught over this. She looks at it as a huge betrayal. Did I get rid of that thing by accident? Yeah, I did. She looks at a huge betrayal of the Iranian people, and I was just like, honestly, if there's anything we know about Trump or this deal or anything, is nothing's for sure. And this is not even a deal. This is just an MOU stating that they have to arrive at a deal within 60 days. And for now, there's no toll fees, but in the future there likely will be based on this. There's a lot of parts of this MOU that really sound horrible for the US, and there's no way the US going forward, if we know anything about the US's style of negotiating in general, it is never really good faith, I want to say. Basically, in fewer words, they'll say, or in more words, they'll say yes for now, I think, just to literally get the Strait of Hormuz open and flowing freely, because that is critical for the global economy, but also for Trump. I think he realizes how much it is hurting his chances in the midterm. So that was goal number 1. They're just going to say yes to whatever you guys want. Yeah, we'll put it on the paper, whatever. But when it comes time to it in the future, I guarantee this deal, if there is one, is not going to look anything like this. It's going to be way different, or basically I don't think there will be a deal. And I think we'll just be in for the long haul. And this will be kind of the start of the breakdown of this. If they can't come to a deal with Iran and the Strait of Hormuz is threatened, it's going to be a whole reshaping of the global economy and, energy shortages in a lot of places, which will affect a lot of other things. So this would be a huge reshaping, and basically this is where a large meltdown could occur. Basically, is as soon as they realize that, oh, this is not getting done, like that there's no solving this issue, then I think that's what we'll see. So yeah, look at that. Actually, price held and then still pushing into all those sells right there. So I don't know. We will see. I could very well just see this continuing to push higher and then just like go right again towards that 76.30 area. I think as far as, there being a buyer here, yeah, sure, NQ did show some evidence that there could be a buyer at those lows, just not, with a lot of volume, which more or less just means that there were not a lot of buyers in their camp. However, the lack of a large scale buyer is more overshadowed by the fact that a seller has like disappeared. The seller that was quietly pushing down this market into yesterday at these highs, at this kind of 540s area that I first saw. I think I first saw them appear at 550, 530, and then just respected ever since. And they, absorbed very easily in that London session, and then immediately pushed down, and we didn't even get to retest that level after that, even going into FOMC. So yeah, they were very aggressive into the end, and I think it was completely with intention of filling this gap during cash session yesterday, in which we saw a large, like that $6 million essentially gap full put bet on QQQ that was exited out on fully. So yeah, basically there was some large bets in the options market that this gap would be filled. It wasn't super directional. They gave it about 2 weeks, but 2 weeks for that kind of money, they want it done within a few days, basically. They don't want to wait even a week because of the theta decay. They want to get their profit quickly. So that is closed out. So I think that was actually just a lack of a seller after that point, pushing the market down. And it was just, in other words, other people trying to defend that level that had been defended before, but that seller was gone. Buyers were able to consistently push through into the end of the day. So NQ being over 540, very good for basically just a large push to all-time highs, where, we're already basically there, right? So I think it'll, after this, you can assume that 31.7, what is that, 31.784, is that 31.785, basically, is the next target, kind of macro target for NQ. And then ES, definitely a bit of hold up below 7,600, but which is interesting because that would be what previous contract like 75.50, 75.60 area. So it's interesting. It's treating it like the previous contract 7,600, which it was a huge resistance, but it's actually not. That would be more around 76.40 now, 76.50. So we will see, but I believe basically that this should be overcome next week fairly quickly. Maybe retest of 75.10 and then push up. I'll be looking for that. But I'll be ready if if some news comes out and then it just crashes down to 74.20 area, 7,400. I'll be ready to watch for a buyer there. But yeah, I believe for the Wyckoff schematic, this is still lining up like the first one, where basically just strong push, quick correction, and then strong push again. So I really want to see this thing just rip towards 78.04. Well, I guess if we want to line it up even more closely, 78.29 is now kind of what I'm eyeing. If this roadmap feels valid, if it starts to check out, if we start to see reactions at most of these levels, then I'll know it's valid, and I'll be targeting, as always, the 4.5 standard deviation. And that lines up right within that TR pocket. So yeah, let's see. Oh, interesting. SpaceX, not so great a day today for space. Oh yeah, that was a big fall. So it's interesting. I don't know. There is some crazy sized options contracts being placed for this. Like, we're talking millions of dollars betting on 250, 300, 350. Excuse me. And I do not know what to make of that. It's possible. You don't know. This again might be, is it can do it multiple times. The market makers, they're smart with how they do this, right? So yeah, initial sell-off on opening day baits everyone thinking it's a flop, market's going to flop. Nope, continues to rise, market continues to rise overall, and now we're pushing. Now you get FOMO. Now people are like, holy crap, I missed the train. And then rejects, comes back down, retests this level. This is definitely going to be very key, 175 area. I think that's very key for it to hold. And yeah, from there, who knows? This could just be a little bump in the road, and then it could go much higher. I have no idea. So I'm not even gonna, this is not enough data, to pretend. But we are kind of, we're experiencing like a secular top bubble, crazed buying, lots of money entering the market. I have friends that have never invested in their lives, and have all of a sudden told me that they've just started, and I'm like, oh God, I hope this bubble lasts for a little bit longer so you can get your piece. But I don't know. It's dicey. I was just like, yeah. What I think what's going to happen is with the Strait of Hormuz, this is very possible. So yeah, sure. I'm looking at this as this could be a significant rejection for a top. That is one possibility, but I'm also looking at it as this is just a target. I think a lot, it's still a crowded trade looking for a top here. So now that we're experiencing this kind of like breakdown, and then it's going to rip, hopefully, or what I think it's going to rip to 7,800 and reject from there. That also might be kind of manipulation in some way. Or we might just pin it and then actually just continue higher. I don't know. Because I think what Trump's plan is now with Iran and Strait of Hormuz is he is going to try and edge this thing all the way to the midterms. Because if this thing blows up in his face before the midterms, he is so cooked, it's not even funny. He's already, in my mind, pretty cooked. I don't really know how he recovers from all of this. He's already just trying to say that, state elections are being rigged and stuff. That's his normal thing. So we will see. I don't really know. I think that's just essentially what he's going to do. That's what I was telling my Iranian friend. I was like, he's probably just going to try and edge this thing along back and forth. You'll see, Hezbollah and Lebanon and Israel fighting and stuff, but he's going to be still claiming that, there's peace and there's a deal and stuff. He's going to edge this thing along just long enough till the midterms to give him the best chance. And then maybe it just falls flat. But already I just don't, I don't know how the data doesn't show horrific inflation in the time being. So we'll see. We'd have to get to this point, and I would have to see like mega absorption, mega flip on, everything delta. I'd have to see buyers piling in at the highs, going nowhere, and then sellers just absolutely take control of size after that. So yeah, should be very interesting next week. But yeah, lots of chop today. I kind of did say, I literally said this in the video yesterday. I think I literally marked it out being like, I expect chop. NQ actually just like started to take off a little bit even throughout the chop. So, but I was more thinking about ES just being stuck under 7,600. But yeah, from here, I don't know, manipulation, 76.10 and then up, or we just, open up next week and we just start going higher. If we manipulate lower next week, I'll have more faith in this just being a strong move up. If we just start ripping higher with no return like early next week, all the way to 7,800. If we're basically hitting 7,800 by like Tuesday, Wednesday next week, then at that point I will, it'll line up very much so like that, Thursday, Friday kind of like dump scenario. That's essentially what it'll look like. If we get all the way up here and then we close the week under this range, under 7,700, basically under this week's highs, if we close the week next week after touching there and closing under there, then that'll also look very good for this market kind of like topping around this area. Anyways, I think that's everything. I want to keep it under 20 minutes. Just wanted to go through that. So yeah, it looks like this scenario is actually going to play out. I don't think we'll actually get a test any lower here. It looks like buyers have no interest in letting it go that low. So yeah, enjoy your weekend. Do some things other than trading. Take a break from the charts. Let your mind reset. Should be a big week next week. All right, take care. Bye.